Welcome back to Philosophy of the Barber. This week's topic is building a barbershop, since both of us have done that.
Officially.
How about a quick intro of we have each built our own barbershop that is connected to each other.
Yep.
And I have built out 3 different barbershop spaces in the same downtown area. In 3 different buildings. So I've got a little bit of experience.
Yep. This being my first build out, first barbershop. It's been an interesting experience, that's for sure. I think because correct me if I'm wrong, you had a vision going into opening your first shop, correct?
I had a vision of like how many chairs, because I bought a basically 1-chair shop and knew that I had enough space to immediately put in 3 stations. And I had 2, almost 3 chairs available, like owned at the time. So I was planning on it being 3 stations. But outside of that, I decided on an aesthetic. But, you know, life happens, things happen, and just kind of fall in place. Not everything was planned. Many, many things did not go as planned.
Because I just, obviously with my situation being a little more spontaneous, that was the hardest part for me, was trying to picture what I wanted it to look like. And like what kind of vibe I wanted to bring to the space instead of just existing in someone else's creation.
I think part of it is also, excuse me, understanding what you're naturally suited to. Like, as you have seen in at least 2 places, that interior design, like decor, I'm very naturally suited to creating that. Like, that comes very naturally to me. Like, I have a vision, and I can tweak things to eventually grow to what my actual vision is. But I can start off and be like, you can kind of picture what I'm going for. So if you're not naturally suited to that, it can sometimes be a little bit harder, and you have to ask yourself the right questions, just like a haircut consultation, where it's like, all right, what do I want the customer to feel when they come in here? What do I want them to be impressed by? Like, what impression do I want them to leave with? Like, those types of questions in order to like get where you're going. Just like with yours is a very comfortable, rustic environment. Like, that's kind of how you got to that point.
Yeah, I really didn't know. It was so hard because I was also in my head thinking of things that I liked without it being too tacky or cliche. Because we do live in New Hampshire, and I like a lot of the New Hampshire things. Mountain ranges, trees, that sort of things. But I didn't want it to be like a lake life barbershop style.
Yeah.
And so it's been hard to find a good, comfortable, my own ground. I don't want to say middle ground, but my own kind of realm of rustic.
Yeah. Well, and not for nothing, but I have discovered, living here for over a decade, that you know who loves New Hampshire things? New Hampshireites.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where they go. They're like, I want to feel like New Hampshire.
Yes.
They don't care if they're going to Disney World. They want to stay at Fort Wilderness.
Yes. The nature. Always the nature.
So, hey, they love what they love. And if somebody decided to make a shop like that, that was like the quintessential 603 experience,
yes,
I'm sure they would do fantastic.
Oh, agreed. Very much agreed.
What was the biggest struggle when it, like, for you personally, when it came to building out your space? Like, what caused you the most stress?
Honestly, probably the color palette. At the beginning, because I feel like that's such the basis, and I couldn't move forward, and I felt like I could not move forward with my space until I figured that out. And it was so hard for me to just figure that out because my favorite color is gray and I'd rather things just be neutral. Like I'm completely fine with just neutral shades, basic, nothing popping, nothing accentuating anything. But I was like, this barbershop does not need to look anything like my apartment. This barbershop needs to have some life, some color to it. So that was hard for me. And then deciding on like station stuff, because that's such the station and chair to me, I feel like are such a permanent fixture. I don't want to have to keep rebuying a station or recreating my booth setup.
Yeah, well, those are big ticket items.
Yeah, and so trying to decide on that as well, like my more permanent fixtures, I was like, all right, this is it. If I'm making this decision, it's sticking around for a while. And that's really hard for me sometimes to set that concrete, firm yes. Even my chair, the day that I ordered it, I still like almost flipped a coin style between two of them.
Says the lady who has dozens of tattoos.
It's totally different though. It's so weird. So weird.
It sounds like you have no commitment problems. I get bored easily. My hair color doesn't even stay the same for more than a couple of months. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll get a little bit on the practical end of things if you're comfortable talking about like numbers. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's important for listeners who are curious, like what it takes to build out a barbershop, like what budget what you can do on what kind of budget. Because it's important. Obviously, that's very dependent on where you are, what you're going.
Yes.
Rate is for a lease agreement, square footage.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. Plus, whatever your tradesmen are charging, and how far out they're booking. Mm-hmm. Because for us in our spaces here, that was our biggest hang up, was waiting on our plumber. That was really what we were waiting on.
Oh my God, yeah.
And our electricians were great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was definitely the work that we didn't do, that we couldn't do, is what was taking so long. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, we were here late nights.
Oh yeah.
Basically, most every night.
Yeah. It became my second job. I just left straight from that shop to this one.
Mm-hmm. For the first month. Mm-hmm. And then it was here all day.
All day. All day.
And painting. I hate painting. So, when it comes to color palettes, make sure you pick colors that you don't get tired of looking at.
Yeah, absolutely that. And definitely try them on your wall in your space.
I did not do that.
I know. I had to with my purple black color.
I really didn't need to, though, because I already had this color palette picked.
Yeah.
And subconsciously, it was a Disney movie. So, I knew it would work.
Subconsciously, at least.
So if you go onto the Philip the Barber Instagram account, or if you look on some of the YouTube shorts, you'll see some videos of the interior of my shop. So you'll see that it's very reminiscent of Beauty and the Beast, which apparently is my favorite Disney movie.
Apparently.
I did not consciously make this decision. It was revealed to me.
It's just matter of fact.
Yep. Yes, I happen to own a Cogsworth and a Lumiere that are operational, and a Mrs. Potts and Chip tea set.
But doesn't everybody?
Yeah, right? That's just something you buy.
Yeah.
So, we gotta post some reels of what your shop looks like.
Okay.
Twist your arm. Sure, fine.
Done. Whatever you say.
Okay, Jiminy. So, from a budgetary standpoint, because your end of the budget was a little bit tighter than my end. Mm-hmm. What was round numbers? Like, what did you budget for? Because you have a roughly 700 to 800 square foot shop in Lakes Region, New Hampshire, in the downtown area. Mm-hmm. One chair shop, so you had to get everything. You had
everything,
to get, like your station, your chair, your towel warmer. Like all the big ticket items.
I had to having come from a booth renter position where I didn't really own anything but my tools, I had to completely start from scratch. I didn't have towels. I didn't have anything. And I was able to secure a small loan, which gave me a budget of about $9,000 to work with. It obviously there were some things that I had to prioritize. Absolutely. Starting with the big ticket items, starting with the paint and the station and the chair and the just little things that help me actually complete the service. Decor and aesthetic fell last because that's just what needed to be. I would say that 9,000 in this area, again, it's very dependent on where you live and what your situation is, but it wasn't quite enough for me. I wish I would have had the option to have a little bit more wiggle room with that, especially to be able to have like a backup fund. I unfortunately was not in a position to give myself a safety net, which luckily in my case has turned out okay. I've still been able to float above the surface, but ideally I would have loved a better safety net to work forward with.
Well, and you didn't really have a whole lot of time to plan.
Nope.
What, like 2 months?
Just about.
Be
Very
amazed
quick.
what can happen in 2 months.
Yeah, amazed. Literally amazed. Things just change so quickly.
Because from Polish and Proper's first location to the second location, it took 2 months for that to happen. Like, the entire build-out of that space.
Oh, yep.
Like, from stud. Because everything had to be redone. All the electrical, because it was a fuse box. Literally a fuse box. Yeah. Never had, like, phone utilities or anything installed in it. It had just been a storage room for decades. But those were professional contractors doing that. I didn't have to do anything but, like, pop in there and go, this is what I want. Oh, here, I bought cabinets. This is the one I want.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the live edge countertop that's going to be installed. Please, let the guys in.
Yeah.
Here's the paint that I want. It needs to be the same as the old place.
Oh, were they the same paint colors?
Yes. The only difference is there was a different finish, only because I didn't know anything about paint when I did the first shop. So I put semi-gloss on the walls instead of flat. Oops.
Oh.
And I put flat on the baseboards instead of semi-gloss. My bad.
Oh,
it was reversed.
Oh, I didn't realize that there was a method. I thought it was just what you preferred.
Oh no, professional painters, they know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I am not a professional painter.
Nope. I just choose whatever I like.
Yep.
I usually just have a tendency to like flat.
Well, so, the more glossy you go, the more reflection you're going to have, and you don't really want that on a giant surface area like a wall.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
See more buffs and mistakes and divots and suches.
Not so much, because, you could see scuffs and stuff on the flat, but it's more of, like, light.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, do you want to get a glare off of your wall?
Yeah, fair. Okay, that makes sense.
I think it's bad enough on a picture.
Oh my god, seriously.
But, so, yeah, I've built out spaces 3 totally different ways. The first one, I'm 24. I don't know how to do anything in life. So I relied heavily on my barber network of people that I went to barber school with and who were already, like, professionals in other industries and decided to do a second career. So the guy who put the flooring down owned a flooring company. He's a barber. There's the guy who did the electrical, same thing. The guy who helped me with, like, paint colors. Just anybody who was available and willing to help. Like, so many people from barber school came up and just helped tear stuff out. Tyler, he was there, didn't even have his worker's permit yet, and was, like, ripping up flooring with us and carpet, and we were tearing down drop ceilings and getting rid of fly paper. It was gross, but super cool at the same time, because, like, we found the tin ceiling that was covered up, that was largely intact. So we were able to, make that pop and make it look good.
Yeah.
'Cause all these downtown buildings down here have tin ceilings. We're spoiled in New England.
For those of you that don't know what a tin ceiling is, they're not silver tin. I thought they were. When I first heard of a tin ceiling, I was like, that would look crazy. Because I was picturing a silver tin.
Like shiny.
Like
Metallic.
a tin shed or a storage building or whatever. I'm picturing the silver tin. And so I'm like, who has silver ceilings?
Well, technically speaking, if you stripped it,
Would it be?
it would be.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, tin ceilings are beautiful, guys.
Yes.
They look like these big fancy tile pieces in the ceiling.
And they do sell drop ceiling tiles that look like tin ceilings now at Lowe's. Yeah, so you could see those things. But when the real thing, like the real McCoy, is nice, especially with the trim edges. Mm-hmm. But so that was the first one. Was like everybody coming together. My husband at the time had like, as soon as we got the shop and started the renovation, got fired from his job. So he was like helping me out full time all of a sudden, which was great because we needed to be open in like 3 weeks, and we did it for like $4,000. Like, oh my God. It was built with Little Caesars and Bud Light.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever fuels you men, please
Help.
do
Keep
the
helping.
things. And then the second one was entirely professionals because, we'd been open almost 6 years at that point. So financially it was like, yes, landlord, if you will front the money, I will pay you that loan back with interest. If it means that this can be built out in 2 months. So everything was to spec. Like, I got to choose exactly where every outlet went.
Ooh.
Yeah. Every station, where the bathroom was built.
Love
Everything.
that.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize it was so very bare bones. Like that.
yeah. It was total gut job. And I even decided that I wanted less fancy components, like no crown molding. Like, I needed simplicity because I knew I would be the one cleaning the place. And I was like, I'm the one who's going to have to dust here. I don't want to have to deal with fancy things.
Yeah.
So that's why it was kind of on the more basic end. It could have been fancier, but I didn't have that in me.
That was a lot of space to
Yeah,
fancy by yourself.
that was 1,237 square feet. Like, that's a lot, plus basement.
Yeah.
And then this place was, I'd say, 90% done ourselves. Like, each of us our own side.
Yep.
We had to bring in plumber and electricians, but that was it. And they had minimal things to do outside of the piping mess that there was. So, like, I did drywall. I've never done drywall. It's not great, but it works.
It works.
I figured out the solution for my less than ideal floor situation. You go, I don't want to have to install a floor because I am not good at labor like that. So I found a solution that I could afford.
Yep.
So it's like ingenuity. You gotta be creative with working within whatever confines and limitations you're given.
Like I've actually got 2 chairs in my little waiting area that were actually chairs that were left in my apartment building as just like these 2 dining chairs that like the leather was just worn on. All the all the material inside it was still perfect. So I just reupholstered them. It cost me $15 in fabric and decorative pins to reupholster these 2 chairs and stick them in my waiting area versus paying $100 for 2 chairs online.
Oh yeah.
It's so expensive to get some nice chairs to put your butt in.
Even if you go on Wayfair, like, it's still not cheap. Especially for single chairs like that.
Yes.
Like, you can get deals for, expectations like, a $1,200 couch you can get for half the price. You go, all right, well, that works.
Yeah.
That's reasonable and a good deal comparatively, but it's like single items like a side table or, a lamp. It's like, why is it so expensive? But I will say that, yeah, FedEx and UPS are like best friends with us because they had to visit us a lot with things.
So many things.
The bane of my existence to this day is styrofoam. Like, the packaging of furniture you have to build yourself is, I appreciate when it comes all, not broken.
Yeah, I do appreciate that part
When
of it.
it's intact, it's great. But it's
Styrofoam
clean
still
up.
sucks.
Yeah.
It's just forever. Especially, I don't mind the thinner styrofoam. Now we're talking about styrofoam. I don't mind the thinner, but they've got like the thicker styrofoam that like the little balls break off of.
Oh yeah.
And then you just have little styrofoam balls everywhere.
And when there's a dog,
And you can't sweep them because they're static. And they're just everywhere forever.
and if you happen to have a dog who likes to taste things, just to check,
Just to check.
just in case, you never know.
I never know. It's gone now. Now you've eaten a styrofoam ball.
So, I'm wondering what. Oh, well, how was your experience with like sign permits and the more city zoning permit end of things?
I'm grateful that I had your help with a lot of the permitting process, because I feel like if you don't have a mentor, it could seem very confusing and very overwhelming, all the different types of permits that you need to get.
It's intimidating.
It is very intimidating, especially when you look at like this list of signatures that you need to get and like all these different boxes you need to check off. And it's not like you're just doing all the footwork, because then it'd be a little bit less intimidating, because you're like, okay, if I'm doing it, I can handle these things. But you have to wait on other people. You have to contact other people. You have to wait to hear back from other people. And it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. Luckily, signage and stuff, because I was doing such a basic sign, helped it be easy. But had I been in a location where I was getting a large standalone in front of the building kind of signage, the permit itself is just confusing.
Oh yeah, well, and that's municipality to municipality
Yes.
dependent.
Yes.
Laconia's happens to be 20 pages long, but like 17 of those pages is the ordinance itself, and like helping you fill out the form.
Just the fact of like you needed to know what zone you're in. I'm like, I didn't even know. I didn't know what zone I was in. I didn't know what I was a part of.
Well, I mean, anybody who's not dealt with cities before is like, what's a zone?
Yeah.
What is the Department of Public Works? Especially if you're in your 20s. Like, who in their 20s knows those things?
No.
So yeah, I could definitely see how that is like sometimes be unapproachable. So like, if your city or town has a section or department that's like for small businesses and can guide you through that, like, props to your city. It's not always the case. And wading through whether or not, because here in New Hampshire, we're a little behind when it comes to implementing certain perks having to do with technology. So like, we have a city website. It's not bad. I can navigate it. But it is by no means up to 2024 standards by any stretch of the imagination, nor would I expect any government website to be, unless it's federal, and even then, maybe.
Maybe.
It depends on what branch. Who's got more money? Because the VAs, historically, has slacked. But they've improved over the last few years. So, as far as like being able to find forms, information, phone numbers, people to contact to guide you through stuff, especially if it's your first one, who knows? If you're opening up in a small town that doesn't have a barber, I'm sure they still exist outside of New England, maybe the person at the town hall has no idea because they
They've
weren't
never dealt
around.
with it before.
Right, they weren't around the last time they had a barber.
Ooh. Yeah.
Thankfully here, barber poles in the city of Laconia are exempt from signage permit requirements, so you can throw up a barber pole with no permit. It's great.
Do you? So you need a permit in other places?
So in Concord, you cannot fly a spinning barber pole. You cannot do any moving signage
Oh.
because it's a distraction. Like KFC's bucket of chicken that turns.
Yeah.
They couldn't have that in Concord.
Interesting. Because it's a distraction?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not wrong.
They don't.
They do turn and move to attract attention.
That's the thing. They don't let a barber pole spin outside of an establishment, but they let you have chickens, and as long as they're not like roosters or guinea fowl. But Laconia never mentioned chickens in a planning board meeting. God. It is a hot button topic. Absolutely not, unless you're in the agricultural zone. Not allowed.
Is it a hot button topic?
Oh yeah, about 10 years ago, it was a whole thing.
Let us have chickens.
If you get into the minutia of municipal ordinances and things like that, it gets eyebrow raising very quickly.
Is there anything, like when you were first opening your shop, is there anything that you like missed and or almost missed permit wise, like when you were getting things set up as far as legalities?
Oh, see,
because you were opening your first shop and there aren't those kind of benefits with the city hall here to just guide you through those sort of things?
Well, so you see, what I did with my first barbershop was purchase an existing barbershop from somebody else. So technically, I didn't need those things.
Oh, because it was already you didn't need to do it. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was great. But also, the phrase ask forgiveness rather than permission may have been a standard used by downtown business owners at that time, especially a 24-year-old wide-eyed, long eyelashed, like girl from Ohio going, "What? Did I need to do that? How am I to know? Thank you so much for telling me." Can go a long way.
It can.
I'm saying I didn't know anything. So, I mean, ignorance is a card to play. Whether or not you know that you're playing it. So, yeah, that went a little bit of a way. And, I mean, my mentor was unfamiliar with Laconia specifically. So, like, he had dealt with other municipalities.
Yep.
And so, the rules vary. In, one place, a decal doesn't count as permanent signage because you can remove it.
Oh, okay.
And in another place, it does. So, it's kind of hit or miss, and it's definitely a case-by-case basis situation. But, yeah, that was handy. Purchasing an existing shop from, like, an old-timer.
Yeah.
And especially from a starting off standpoint, you go, all right, it's generally known that you can get your haircut here, even though it's a one-chair shop who's doing maybe 5 to 8 haircuts a day. Cool. And at whatever price point he was, which was not high. I think the standard at the time was like $14 here.
Oh, God.
Yeah. We upped it to 16 immediately. But, yeah, it's handy to get over some of those hurdles that we had to deal with this place. Because I had to deal with those things twice.
Well, and I was going to ask, for the second, you obviously had to cover still, like, the same ones we did here.
Yeah.
But, like, also the professional companies took care of all of their end of permits, of course.
Yes. In fact, there was a, like, cease and desist posted because I guess they hadn't pulled a permit. So I, like, took a picture of it and sent it to the contractor. Was like, what's the deal? Because I don't want that, like, associated with me when dealing with the people I know at the city.
Yeah.
Like, that, because they know I know the rules by now. Like, I've been around a while, like 5 years. So they're like, you can't do the ignorance card anymore. You've outplayed that.
Your eyelashes don't work anymore, pretty lady.
I disagree with that. But at least the ignorance card doesn't work. The eyelashes I only pull out if absolutely necessary. Only with the fire inspector.
Yes.
At that time. So, yeah, the professionals took care of their permitting and everything. I only had to deal with going around making sure the inspections all happened.
Okay.
And that was before the new permit that we had to deal with here, which for the Winnipesaukee River Basin project, which was a whole nother thing. Talk about like a waste of trees and paper of having to print out yet another copy of SDS sheets for their records, in addition to the ones we have to keep here, like for inspection purposes. Crazy. Insane. And the amount of time it took to actually get like official written approval for that.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Just think about it, though. That means they're doing that for every business. Think of all the SDS sheets they just have stored in a room somewhere.
At the same time, there are plenty of businesses that don't have the requirement to have SDS sheets.
Who? Oh, fair. Fair.
Like retail. Retail doesn't require SDS sheets.
That's right. Damn us and our chemicals.
It is what it is. So, looking back, I mean, it's only been a few months, but like, aside from budget situation, do you think there's anything you would have done differently or would have preferred to have prioritized over other things?
Honestly, no. I feel like with the cards that I was dealt, I handled the situation best I could. I feel good about what I have in the shop, and the couple things I've added since the initial, I feel have been very helpful. There's, of course, a couple little things that I still want to add, but those would never have had the priority to get put first.
Right. Because, I mean, bare bones, the things you need for a barbershop, besides the inspectables, are your barber chair, your station. I mean, technically you don't need a towel warmer because that is a level up of the service.
Correct.
But like a latherizer. And your tools, which you already have. And towels, because you need towels. Like, whether you're shampooing somebody or, you know, you need a hand towel to wipe off some stuff. But, like, it's pretty bare bones. You know, trash can, laundry bag. It's...
Well, and it's also, like, you don't even think about all of the little things. Trash can, laundry bag, like, the little extra stuff. You don't think about all those things when you're thinking big ticket at first. And then as it started, like, getting closer and closer to us opening, I was like, oh, yeah, I still need a trash can. Like, I don't have a trash can or a laundry basket for my stuff. And it was just, like, little things that I was like, oh, duh, I need to order a new box of neck strips. Of course I don't have, like, I don't have those right now.
I don't have a container for my combs.
Yeah.
And it is all those little things. And they do add up. Like, if you add up all of those things, it's like, that's quite the Amazon order.
Yeah. Oh, Amazon, yes. I love that it keeps reminding me of how much I could have saved if I had an Amazon Prime credit card. I'm like, thanks. I'm not getting one. You can't make me.
Oh. Careful. There's a lamp there.
Watch out, lamp.
Now, from a, we'll say a not physical build out standpoint, like building your shop, like letting people know that you're here, like what are your priorities as far as bringing people to your establishment, like especially from a low to no cost standpoint, like what are the list of things that you're doing to garner business?
I'm consistently putting myself out there when I am having conversations and meeting new people. I'm not, and it's kind of been like little things like that, like allowing myself to be more open and friendly at the gym and like interacting with people that way and just and warming myself into the community. But I also, well, it wasn't super low cost, but I also did that thing. There was a trunk or treat event that I did last Halloween just before we opened that I added some business cards to some goodie bags. Which honestly, that did help a little bit. I pulled a couple different clients from that. But really, I think the biggest thing that has attracted people to the business, I don't like, that's more of a physical sense though, is my Sasquatch out in the front.
Oh yeah.
It just draws so many people in.
Well, and having a signature visual like that is really important. Like, to be found. If somebody's never been to where you're located before, it's how do I find you? Well, I'm across the street from this place. I've never been down there before. I don't know where that place is. Good point. So, like, having that landmark is really handy. Some of the things I did when first opened was obviously establishing, like, outreach in the downtown area, because there's so many businesses and fellow downtown merchants. So, downtime, definitely going to the area businesses, introducing yourself, because most of them are owner operated. You're gonna either hit the owner or one of their family members, most likely. That way, you kind of get some insider information, because downtown business owners are so willing to, like, give you the tea. They are like, oh, you want to know about this building? Don't go into that building. That building owner is terrible. He's gonna like sue you out of your lease as soon as he thinks that you're making money. Or, oh, that building, well, here's the 50-year history about that building. And you get to hear all the drama of small towns. And this is technically a city of 17,000 people, which is not a lot of people.
Is there that many people here?
Year round. It used to be 16. For the last 40 years, it was 16. But then, COVID happened and everybody moved here. 1,000 people. But, so having that and getting into that web of network connection, because, even though it's a tiny downtown, it's the one end, you don't always get to travel and hear what's going on at the other end. So, like, if you have that free time to go and, like, pop in at one of the stores and just check in and be like, hey, what's up? And you figure out what's going on, especially as a barber. Like, we have to know the tea.
Yes.
We got to be able to tell people directions. We got to know where things are. We got to know the name of roads, landmarks, sections of town. Like, we got to know the history.
All the current events and the things that are going to be happening in the town.
Like, we are the announcement board. Like
almost like the information center.
Yeah, we're the bulletin board for the town. And we do it in a way that's engaging. It's like, if you suck at making a poster, okay, well, you suck at making a poster, but tell me about your event and I will tell other people about it.
Oh yeah. I've boasted up this food truck of my clients so much, and I haven't even tried the food yet. It's not food truck season yet. Like, he's not even food trucking yet. He did one season last year, told me about it. I have his business cards that I keep passing out. I'm like, I'm sure it's great.
Well, and that's another thing is, the basic practice of business cards. Like, it's worth that investment. And, depending on what type of business card you're going with, will depend on that is a variable in how effective the business card can be. Like, because you got to think entirely on first impressions. You go, all right, do I want to spend $10 per card? Or 10 cents per card? $10. That better be a metal thick card.
I was gonna say
that is also like a Swiss Army knife. That better be a nice card.
Better have tool attachments. I'd be able to use it as like a wrench.
But like 10 cents a card or like $1 a card. And those are very different experiences holding them.
Oh, yes. Real quick tangent about the business card thing. So when I first got into the industry, fresh out of school, I was about to go to a barber expo. And I was like, ooh, I definitely need cards to go to this barber expo. I wasn't even fully like started in that shop yet. I think I was like a week away from graduation, honestly. But I was like, I need to at least have business cards with my Instagram on it to pass out at the barber expo. So I went very cheap route, just through Staples, was able to pick them up the next day. Very easy. But then when I became a booth renter under you and had those very nice fancy cards,
yes,
I had a whole new respect and understanding for the quality of a business card. And when I bought the business cards for my new business, Rugged Barber Company, it was under under the knife, was doing it for the goodie bags. So I didn't want to spend a lot of money because they were just going in goodie bags and then probably in the trash. So I went the Staples route again. And now I'm just ready to get rid of them. I've clearly ordered too many from the Halloween thing. And now I just want them gone so I can buy better ones. Because I can't justify buying better ones while I still have these. That's just not financially savvy for my business. But I'm tired of these thin business cards. And I want to hand something with a little girth to potential clients.
I feel like some of the people who have worked at my shops get spoiled.
Yes.
that was a little too fast. When it comes to some things. Because, I mean, I am obsessed with quality in certain aspects. Like, where it counts. And as a first impression, like, it counts. Like, it's not just people that give first impressions. It's also any tactile experience that's associated with you. So, yeah, we had cards from moo.com. Not a sponsor. I wish. And they were, like, thick. They're luxe cards. Like, they felt like a coaster from a bar.
Yes.
Like a nice coaster from a bar. And they had everybody's photo on them. Very nice photo. That way you're marketing yourself first and foremost. Like, yes, you work at my shop, but it's you that you're wanting them to come to.
Yes.
Like, the shop happens to be where you're located. But it's your chair. It's you as a person. And that way, your face is there. Even if they don't remember your name, they're like, that girl.
That's the one.
That, her. So, like, that all mattered. And it having that perceived value in that tactile
In that
feel. Like, you immediately don't want to throw that away because you're like, oh no, this costs money. I like this. It will last in my wallet.
Also, I feel like because of its sturdiness, people are less likely to throw it away because it's not going to get completely worn and bent over and over again in the wallet. Because I feel like it'll stay.
Yeah.
Being good like that. It's not going to get dumped in the clean out versus like, I just have so many business cards in my wallet just to get thrown out all the time. But there's certain ones that stay.
Yep.
They always stay in the rotation, and they're usually the nicer looking business cards, whether it's for the graphic on it, the feel of the card, or whatever. It's the better quality cards that end up sticking around.
Yeah, so it's the thicker cardstock, it's the embossing, gold, like metallic lettering, anything that makes it stand out like that. And it's not all... I actually don't like business cards that are too awkwardly shaped. Like, I don't like square business cards. I don't like tiny rectangular business cards.
They don't fit
like
in wallets.
If they're not close to or a typical business card size, like ours were slightly different, but not so much as like would make the wallet experience difficult. It would make it difficult if you had a business card holder that was conventional. You go, all right, well, it doesn't fit in there. But like, for the most part, for a consumer to fit in their pocket, to fit in their wallet, it would still worked just fine. But some of them are awkward shape or like custom cutout. I don't like those because they become very inconvenient.
Yeah.
So now they don't belong anywhere. I can't put them somewhere. So, something to think about when you're picking out business cards. We could go on about business cards and all those like little detail things. It's like my favorite thing.
I'm just ready
Details.
to be able to get new ones because I already have a vision for them. And I want them to be real.
Well, the cool thing is you can always make a draft and like save it on your account.
Fair. When did you decide to make the jump and start selling merch?
I think we got our first t-shirts maybe year 2 or 3. Might have been 3. Because I didn't start off with a professionally designed logo. So that had to be like year 3 when I had that. And Harvard was working for us when we had our first t-shirts. So, yeah, I want to say 3 years.
Okay. What?
But you're already ahead because you already have a professionally designed logo.
Fair. What kind of showed you that it was a good time to start doing merch sales? Or did you...
Nothing.
Nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
That was just why don't we do this? I know other people that have t-shirts. Mm-hmm. People seem to like them. Mm-hmm. But I always, again, quality. Like, the first t-shirts and with one exception, every t-shirt that we carried was always like a tri-blend, really nice fabric that just didn't wear out. It wasn't those cheap, like, let's just go to the mass production screen printer and get these t-shirts for this baseball game and then we'll never have to wear them again.
Yeah.
And it's a been there, done that, got the t-shirt kind of quality. I didn't like that quality.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted t-shirts that I wanted to wear that would rise to the top of the rotation every week.
Yep.
So that was the only reason, was like, all right, if I'm going to do a t-shirt, I'm going to do a t-shirt that I want to wear on a daily basis.
I know because you know that I've been toying with ideas of merch and stuff, and when I feel like that would be a good idea, and lately I've been playing with the idea of possibly introducing hats this summer, depending on how things, just because I know that my clients will buy them. Like, I know that people will. I know, even if my direct clients won't, like, I know that I can sell them through my family friends network just for wanting to support me. So, like,
you could put Rudy, like a silhouette oval of Rudy on a beanie or a flat brim or anything. Like,
Yes. And so I've been, as far as like what kind of hat to get, I'm like, well, I like the trucker hat style because that's what a lot of my clientele wears, and that's what I see a lot of around. But I personally don't wear those. Mm-hmm. I like a more like wiki sport style hat. And so I'm like, to cater to more the client or to, I don't know. Because it's not necessarily to myself, but because I also cater to the golf guys.
That's true.
In that aspect.
You do.
So, but it's hard to... Did you ever... Was all your merch stuff online, or did you ever do, like, mom and pop local?
So, if I had screen printing needs on a custom item, like barber capes, I had a local guy.
Okay.
And, I mean, still technically do. Like, he's still open, and I know where to find him. Because he is also somebody who cares about quality. And so, like, we had that conversation of, like, I want your screen printing to last longer than the item.
Yeah.
And he delivered exactly that when he screen printed our logo on the capes.
Really?
The capes did not last as long as that logo.
Yes.
And it was exactly what I wanted. But as a general rule, I tend not to use most local screen printers specifically, mostly because I don't want to step on the toes or possibly insult somebody because their business has certain pricing that doesn't work within my budget. Mm-hmm. So I prefer to not have that human connection because I also am, we'll say, prideful in some areas, as you witnessed earlier today, that I don't ever want to feel in business that someone is doing me a favor. So I'm not a haggler. Like, I take you at your word. Whatever your price is, your price, because I'm not a haggler.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to haggle my haircut price with somebody. It's my price is my price. Like, it's not a conversation. That's a fact.
Yes.
So I treat other people that same way.
Yes.
So if somebody is then willing to work with me on a price, I go, well, then either you're doing me a favor or that's not your price.
Yeah.
So either way, I feel like it's not being transparent.
It's not just legitimate business.
Yeah. It's like, and that puts me in a confusing space because not everybody's great at communication. It's like, what am I supposed to think about that? Because, It can't just be the face value.
No, it cannot. There's way more behind it.
So that's why I tend to not venture into local merchants that do screen printing. But I've used local merchants to do other retail items, like custom shave mugs. I used a local crafts lady who makes dishes, night shift stoneware. She's fantastic. She makes the dishes for the local coffee shop and area restaurants. She sells them herself online and in her shop. She's great. So she made shave mugs for us that had our logo stamped into them.
Oh, yep, I remember those.
Phenomenal. And like we went over specs for the mugs so that it was like user friendly, not just like a regular mug where it's like, hey, if you got big thumbs, well, sucks to be you. So we had an apothecary handle put on it. That way it didn't matter how big or small your hands were.
Oh, cool.
And the bowl was the lip of the bowl, instead of flaring out, was like tipped in a little bit. That way, as you were making the lather in it, it would keep it in the bowl
instead of right.
Yeah. And the top part was glazed. It had a nice like dark or light gray color, but the bottom part had a textured clay finish. That way, even when wet, you could keep it like firmly gripped in your hand and you wouldn't slip it out and break it and it'd be terrible. So like it was designed with thought.
I was gonna say very thought out.
Yeah.
I love this.
And the handles, she alternated and put them on both sides of the mug. That way, whether you're right or left-handed, the logo can be seen whichever way you want it to be seen. Because as a lefty, I care about these things.
Yes.
So yeah, all of those things were taken into account when making that product for our customers.
I appreciate your thought process and mindset with local merchants on certain things, because I've felt myself at a little like impasse kind of, because I do know she's a friend of mine. I do know someone that does lots of screen printing and clothing and stuff like that, and I've gotten a shirt from her before. And so in my head, I'm just like, should I use her because I'm a small business? Should I support small businesses because I'm a small business? And I go through that little argument in my head, but the reality is I can't afford her, but I respect her craft, trade, job, and everything too much to want to or try to talk her down. But like the small, it is expensive. It is very much, some of them are very much out of budget.
Well, and see, that's the funny thing. I just was like flipping through reels today, and there was somebody who was having a conversation about clients that pay you more are the ones who actually respect your work the most. Like people who are like questioning or trying to bring your price down don't respect your work as a professional, or don't trust them because maybe they're a first-time client, like they don't know, so they're trying to like haggle with you. Versus like the people that know your skill, know your level of expertise, know your quality, they will never question that price. And in fact, like not rarely, you will get paid more than what you're asking because they're like, you're not charging enough. Or they want to make sure they stay in your good graces so that when you get too busy, they'll stay a customer.
Yeah.
So those are definitely things to keep in mind when you're making decisions. Like, I don't aim to make enemies or to like insult people or anything, like as a fellow small business owner. Like, that's never my goal. And it's never my intent. If I don't use you, either I don't know you exist, I think you're too busy, or you're out of my price range.
Yes.
Like,
it's not personal.
Yeah, nothing.
I like your work. I can't afford you.
Nothing about business for me
is
personal.
Correct.
It's I am compartmentalized. Like, my sense of self is not attached. Like, my value as a human being is not attached to my business. Like, there's plenty of people who are not fans of mine. And that's okay. I'm not for everybody. I know that. I'm fine with that. But that doesn't make me feel like less of a person.
Yeah.
Like, I am a valuable human, whether my business succeeds or not.
Correct, yes.
that value does not change. And that is the same with everyone I deal with. I treat them first and foremost, they are a valuable human being. If I am critical, which I have been known to be, I am critiquing the product or the performance of a function. That's an action. That is not a state of being. That is not you personally.
Yes.
I get more concerned when people do take it personally, and I go, is this how you take criticism? Is directly to your heart? Then you can't take criticism. And that's a problem on your end. Because how are you to improve if every single critique is taken as an insult rather than constructive?
I feel like criticism can be hard depending on the mouth it's coming from.
Oh, for sure. I lack tact more often than not.
Because I gotten better about it over the years, but I definitely used to place a lot of my self-worth on how I presented and the things that I had, and like what I was able to bring to the table is what valued my worth. And so criticism used to be very hard. Family and friends, absolutely, can take it, turn it, use it, grow from it. But people that I didn't trust or I was already uncomfortable with, insult, completely took it negative, and would almost like hyperfixate a little bit on that, and then have that create this new little being for myself. And so it's been, I'm glad that it's something that I've gotten over as I've gotten older, and something that I've been able to grow out of, because in any industry, just in life itself, but like I wouldn't have been able to go through school having that similar mindset that I used to have, because it was so detrimental to how I valued myself. School would have been a nightmare.
Well, how can you learn with that mindset?
I wouldn't have been able to do anything. And honestly, school's kind of what helped me get, I think it's the school mindset, because it was school before when I was very young that it was so impressionable on me, and I was able to almost like kind of transform that in a new learning environment and not take things so personally, and not feel like the go-to is that, God, I'm an idiot. Like the first train of thought, you know what I mean? And to be able to take it differently and actually grow from it is so much better than taking it personally. Which it's not. I'm still not perfect with it. Like there's still sometimes I have to like remind myself, don't worry, Cassandra, it's not personal.
Oh yeah, well, and same. I had to have my own experiences that like shaped that ability in me. But it's interesting that you're cool with criticism from friends and family, but not strangers. Whereas like mine is the opposite.
Really?
I am far more open to random people because I feel like they are unbiased. Like I feel like they have no preconceived notions about me. So that's just honest feedback from people that don't know me from anybody. Friends and family, friends have more context, so I feel like it's just more informed, whereas family I feel like is definitely on the more biased end of things. So I don't take that nearly as well.
I mean, fair. I can see that mindset for sure.
Yeah, a little dip into my psychology. Strangers are great because they don't know me. So is there any advice for people that are looking to open a shop that you would, like little nuggets of knowledge that you might want to bestow upon them that were handy for you, or maybe you wish you had thought to ask beforehand?
If you have the time, save for it. Definitely save for it, because you'll save yourself so much headache, and realistically just having the financial security to back the decision you're making just helps you move forward. Also though, when I was really struggling with what I wanted my shop to look like, Bree gave me the idea of doing almost like a vision board and just like looking up images of different, whether it's a seating area or a library or just a living room, just looking up different images of different aesthetics and creating just a little piece together vision board, and just seeing different things really helped me focus it all together, because if I didn't have that, it was just so grand and vast and there was just so many things floating around in my mind, but to center that onto one piece and allow me to like actually look at it was really helpful to like gather a better understanding of what I wanted to see in my space.
Well, and it's so important to create a space that you are going to feel comfortable in every day for hours on end. Like, that matters immensely. Because, I mean, number one, if you're the one who's going to be comfortable in it for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, roughly, then the chances of your customers being comfortable there are pretty high, in my opinion. As long as you're still keeping them in mind during your decisions. Like, I'm not saying make yourself a man cave or, you know, a she shed, sort of a barbershop situation. It's not, like, it's not for your leisure, but it is for you to be comfortable to work in that environment. Like, it needs to not be distracting so that you're wanting to do other things other than work, but to be able to surround yourself in an environment that allows you to focus comfortably on the task at hand. And that when you get a chance to sit down, you're still comfortable. Like, those things matter, in my opinion, more than things just beyond the necessities of, like, a chair and a station.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you have to have things in your space that make you happy to be in there.
Yeah, like, if it's sterile, like, who wants to work in a hospital, honestly? Like, that's not a comforting environment, I don't think, for anybody. Now, it's
not even for the people that want to work there.
It's practical from a disinfectant perspective. And, you know, they use calming colors, but it's not comfortable. Everything is hard. Everything is a tile or a laminate, or it's a hard surface. Nothing's comfy and cozy, because, I mean, germs love comfy and cozy too. So as far as hospitals go, power to you, make it hard. But like a barbershop, it needs to be more approachable, because everybody, like, expects you to be friendly.
Yes.
Like, I had a first time today who was like, oh, like, I don't go get my hair cut often, and he doesn't. He's like, I've never had a bad experience getting my hair cut. And I was like, oh, I am so glad to hear you say that. I know this is the first time you've seen me, but, like, as an industry professional, I am so happy that you have never had a bad haircut experience. Because, it hurts me every time I hear of people's bad haircut experiences.
Really, it really does. Like, I am grateful when I can hear that, like, that you don't have a horror story from a shop where they nicked you or messed up your hair so bad, or...
Well, and it's not just the haircut. Sometimes it's the experience. Like, you could have a rockin' fade walking out of there.
Fair.
But if your barber was grumpy, or if they decided to dump their emotional baggage on you that day, that could be just as bad of a haircut experience as, you know, getting a jacked up cut.
Very fair, and if not more so, because at least... given our usual clientele basis, they're usually a little bit more careless about the look of the haircut. As far as being able to let some stuff slide.
They're low maintenance.
Yes. They understand that their hair grows back.
They're forgiving as long as the experience is positive. They are willing to work with you.
Yes.
And, like, come back and give you constructive criticism and feedback, going, hey, can we not go quite as short next time?
Yep.
Or, hey, can we, like, make sure this is a little less heavy? Like, stuff like that. They're willing to work with you if they like you.
Yep. In fact, I feel like that's kind of how I know that a client likes me and enjoys the experience that I give them, and not just I'm a barber giving a haircut. When they do come back and they're like, hey, could we maybe not do this like that next time? I'm like, oh, yep, sure. Like when I messed up someone's hair a few weeks ago. That was unfortunate. But we got a second chance.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
I don't remember that particular instance, but okay. I got my own problems to deal with over here sometimes. Now I can hide from you. All right, so last thoughts as far as building a barbershop. Do you think we've covered, at least from our experience, because I know we haven't covered, like, from more of the business aspect, we didn't cover, like, writing a business plan, because we did do that, but going to banks, looking for business loans, like, those are definitely things that are outside of my wheelhouse.
Same.
Because I have thankfully always been in the position to not have to look for conventional financing options. I have, like, my first shop, I got a loan from a friend, which was paid back within 9 months, because I don't like owing individuals money, which, especially if I like you, I don't like owing you money. The second one was conventionally unconventional, because it was the landlord willing to invest in his own property as a loan that was built into the lease with interest. So, like, he was still making money.
Yeah.
Which is the conventional loan concept, but it was built into the lease to where it'd be paid back within the term of the lease. So that, yeah, that was handy doing it that way. And then this was definitely, small business loans, like going through Square, stuff like that. Like, those don't require you to, like, prove
anything.
Yeah, other than what Square already knows is the money that goes through your POS system. So, like, they do all that for you. You don't have to, like, meet with a loan officer and justify your business. And here are my tax returns. This is my gross income. Here's my overhead. Like, not having to do those types of things has always been more in my comfort zone of, like, cool, because I don't feel like I need to justify anything to anybody.
Yeah.
But I also am super uncomfortable being in debt, like, more than $50,000. Like, that was uncomfortable for me. Like, that was the most uncomfortable I have ever been financially, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll do when my husband and I finally buy a house, but I'll not be alone in it.
Fair enough.
So unfortunately, we can't talk at length on that end of things. And I mean, aside from my position of being a volunteer with the SCORE program, I can't really talk too much about, like, the ins and outs of even that program. Though if you do have a local SCORE program and are looking to open a shop, I would recommend checking them out, because they do have great mentors. If you're lacking one, that might be a place to find one. They can definitely help with the accounting end of things, and anything that is not barbershop specific, they're pretty great at as far as, like, running a business. But outside of that, what do you think? Cover everything for the
I think so.
for the moment.
Yep.
Until we can think of something else, and we'll write it down.
Jot it.
Well, until next time, we'll see you guys next week.
Have a wonderful night.